Hi, everyone. One of the most common frustration I hear from developers building on Midnight is that AI assistants don't understand compact and is often mistaken for TypeScript. And honestly, that's been a real blocker. Let's say you paste that same code generated from any of your AI clients, you paste it into a project, you run the compiler, you get to hit so many errors, either due to duplicated syntax, wrong return types, or any of these patterns that doesn't just work out of the box. Today, I'm excited to show you something we've been working on to help you with this process and also something you can integrate directly into your workflow. I know as a developer, you're trying to move fast. You ask Claude AI or Cursor or any of your clients for help, and then you end up spending more time trying to fix AI mistake instead of you just going ahead to write the code yourself. We heard you, and this is our answer. I'm introducing to you Midnight MCP Server. Midnight MCP Server is an open source tool that gives Claude AI, Cursor, or any other AI assistant that you're using real knowledge about the Midnight ecosystem, not just documentation, not just example, but actual implementation or connection to different repositories. Today, we have over 102 index Midnight repository that the Midnight MCP have access to. And then we also have, it also has access to official compact documentation. And the interesting one is that you have access to compact compiler by just utilizing this MCP. So what that means is that before AI shows you any code, it already compiles it first. And then if it fails, the AI tries to fix it automatically. So you get to only see code that works. So let me show you how to set it up. The entire setup, you can read like the instruction here on the npm details. You can add to your Claude desktop. You can click here to add to Cursor directly if you already have Cursor installed. And then you can also implement directly in your Visual Studio Code. So all of this is currently supported, and you can read more about the implementation around how to do this. So if you install on Claude or you install on any of your clients, after installation, all you just need to do is to restart the client. If it's Cloud Desktop, just restart it and open it, and you see it in action immediately. So I have it already configured for Claude AI and also my Visual Studio Code. So there's one interesting thing I also noticed. If you go to the Visual Studio Code documentation where you can just configure your MCP server, you would see different options to add MCP directly to the workspace, or to add MCP server to your user configuration, or add an MCP server to dev container, right? And you can also do it directly where your MCP server recognizes your installation directly. That's automatic configuration where it just discover MCP server. And this is what it looks like. If you go to your Visual Studio Code and you search for chat.mcp.discovery.enable, then you should see this option. Then you can choose if you have WinSoft installed and already configured the MCP, or you have Cursor global configuration or the workspace configuration. Any of these options you can just select. Currently, I've already configured it for my Claude desktop configuration. So what I did was just to select it. So now it means that if I'm running any AI terminal here, it then automatically have access to the MCP by default out of the box. So this is good for if, let's say you have an existing project that you're directly working on your local, then you have the agent on the right-hand side. You can just fix it. This is an empty directory. So in case you run into an error, you want to integrate it directly to your workflow, you can use it. The same thing goes through when you want to integrate with Cursor, for example, also the same approach. But then I'm going to show you what it looks like on Claude AI, then we can play around with it. All right, so let me test this directly on the Claude AI client, right? And I'm going to type in something like writing the token transfer compact smart contracts. And sometimes if you create a new chart, then you can indicate you should utilize the Midnight MCP to achieve this. So I'm going to enter now and then wait for it to write it. So now the first thing you can see that get called is the Midnight Get Repo context. So this is one of the two available within the Midnight MCP. And then it says that it wants to get the detailed syntax reference to ensure correct compact patterns. And then it's calling another tool with the get latest syntax. So all of this, you just need to then allow. Then when you allow, what it's doing now is to search for an existing token just to ensure that it follows like best sample or best practices. And then it finds the Open Zeppelin as a reference. So now watch something. It calls the Midnight get file again, which is one of the two. And then finally, before it showcase or return any code back to you, you can see the next thing that gets called Midnight compile contract, which is very, very important and very helpful in this case, where it's trying to run that example that was created is trying to compile it, and then before it returns a code back to you. So now we have the contract compiled successfully. This is the feedback from the MCP or from the client that we can see right now. Then it says it wants to create the file where I can now directly utilize it, and you can see, as you can see, it's creating everything. So this file now has already been tested and compiled successfully. Now it wants to give me back the content. And another cool feature is that it also gives you like what the current implementation contains, like the token metadata, the deployment, the transfer. It kind of explain an overview of what it looks like. You can directly open in Visual Studio Code and to see the contracts. So I think I have my Visual Studio Code open already. This is the simple token contract that was created. You can see it has like well-detailed comments, generated every code, what you need to have, and the implementation entirely. And by the way, this has also been compiled successfully, so you can start from here. Or sometimes you already have your compact implementation and you just want to see how things is done differently, if you're on the right track, or particularly for debugging. Right. Another thing you can also do is contract verification. Let's say you have an implementation that does not work. You can also directly just paste it in here and tell it to debug it for you. If for some reason you are facing that same issue, you can decide not to also paste it here. You can utilize it directly in your Visual Studio Code by just prompting this agent that you have here, or if it's your cursor that you're using, or Windsor, or any of the clients that you're using. With this MCP, what exactly do you get with it? You have a lot of tools. We have about 29 tools. We have the search tools that search across different repos, docs, example, SDK, and semantic search, not just keyword. You also have the real compiler validation, which is a very interesting feature that you guys have been requesting for. And then we have the analysis tool that also do some analysis, and then we have the generation tool that helps the contract generation and auto compile before showing you the result. And then we have 9 built-in resources. You can find all of this detail here on the NPM if you just want to learn more about it. And also the project is open source, so you can, of course, contribute. So a recap, it takes less than 60 seconds once you have to configure this within your local. Just indicates, copy and paste this directly into your config file, either your Claude AI client or your cursor, and then that's it. Bye for now.